Hello guys. So in this video I want us to recap on common internal tangents and common external tangent. So this is just a recap from what we've already done in class. So I'm going to start with common internal tangents. So let's say you were given two circles. Just gonna draw it right here. I'm just gonna start with center lines. Like I said, every time you're drawing a circle, you start with center lines. I call it the skeleton, right? You start with your skeleton. Right. And then the distance between these two circles that I'm about to draw, I'm going to make it, say, 100 right there. So now pay attention to my center lines, right? They all start with a longer dash and end with a longer dash right there. This is rule number 3 in the document that I gave you, right? So in the middle, they can cross with either the long dash and long dash, the long dash or short dash, the short dash and the short dash, something like that, right? And then now let's say our smaller circle right there, we make it radius 20. Let's make it radius 20. Compass needle there, like that. And then the bigger one, let's make it radius 40. Let's make it radius 40. No, let's make it radius 30 or 35. Yes, 35. Let me make it 35. Just like that. And then now I'm just going to call this one O1, the center there, O2, like that. And then this radius, and that radius. This one I'm going to call it R1. That one I'm going to call it R2, like that. Right. So step number one, you are going to bisect the line O1, O2. This line, right? You're going to bisect it. So we said to bisect a line, you open more than half the length of that line. So now, more than half can be somewhere there if we're measuring from O2, right? And then you make an arc, right? Then with the same measurements, you take it to the other side, like that. You make the second arc like that. Then you can join these two. Like that. Then the intersection between that line and the perpendicular bisector will be your point M, right? And then you take your compass for the following step. Place your compass needle at point M. Extend the pencil side to either O1 or O2. I'm going to extend it to O1, right? Then you draw a semicircle, right? Then step number 3, you are going to say R1 plus R2, right? So R1 plus R2 will give you 30 plus 20. It will give you R50. So now you are going to open R50 on your compass, right? And then you place it on the bigger circle, which is O1, right there, right? And then you make an arc, and that arc is supposed to intersect the semicircle, right? Now the intersection between that arc and the semicircle, you call it point T. Now that is the point that you're going to use to locate the tangent to that, to that circle, to both circles as a matter of fact. And then you draw a line from O1 to T, like that, right? Now the intersection between that line O1 T and the circle right there is T1, right? And then now you draw a line from T to O2, like that. Like that. And then the following step, you have to draw a line perpendicular to that line, that direction. So it's either it's perpendicular to that line or it is parallel to this line, right? So now I'm going to show you both methods. So if you were going to draw the perpendicular line, you can use your protractor, right? And then you place it right there, like this, right? So this line is supposed to be in line with that line T, right? TO2. And then center will be O2, like that, right? And then you go for the 90 degrees, right? So that line is supposed to go from here to that one. Or you can use your set squares. You can use your set squares like this. Just remove that. So you're gonna have to draw parallel lines with your set squares. So now you're going to make one side of your set square parallel or in line with that line, like this, right? Then you put the other one there. Now you hold this one to be fixed in one place, like that, and then you move this other one, right, until it gets to O2, like that, right? And then now you can draw that line right there. I missed by just an inch there, but that doesn't matter. So now the intersection between that line and this circle right there will be your T2, right? So now this is supposed to be 90 degrees and that is supposed to be 90 degrees always, right? Then now the tangent will be from T1 to T2, right? This way. That way. Right. And that is a common internal tangent. Now, let's see how we can draw a common external tangent. So now just note the difference between these two so that you do not forget when you are about to write your test. Now I'm going to do the very same thing here. I'll start with the center lines. and then said we can make it 100 in between. For your practice, that doesn't really matter, eh? It doesn't really matter how you space those two. You just use this one. Right. And now the first circle, we said it's going to be 20. The second one, oh, now I'm remembering something. So on this other side, we said we're going to make this. Did we end up making it 35 or 30? I can't remember. But then if I made a mistake there on 30, just put 35, ne? But then it looks like it's on the right position there. Okay, it's all right. So I'll make 35 this side. If I made a mistake on that 30, please just correct that when you're practicing. Let me see what I made there. Yeah, I definitely made it 35 here, ne? So that is supposed to be 35, right? And that is supposed to be 55. So it means here you are going to open a radius of 55 instead of 50, right? But then you get the concept. We're only focusing on the concept for now. And then O1, O2, right? Also, can also put that just that right there. And we can call this R1. Let's call that R2. Now, the very same thing you have done on the other side, do it here. You bisect line O1, O2. Bisecting a line, you open your compass to more than half, and then you make an arc with the same measurements. Take that compass to the other side, and then you make an arc. Right. Proceed. Just like that, right? And then the midpoint right there will be M, right? And then you take your compass, place it in the middle, right there. Extend your pencil side to either O1 or O2. Draw a semicircle. It passed by just an inch, but yes, like I said, we're focusing on the concept. So now on this other side, you said R1 plus R2, which gave you 55, right? Now on this other side, you are going to say R1 minus R2, right? Which will be R35 minus R20, right? Then this gives us R15, right? So now you are going to open your compass R15. So now this is just a small difference between these two. This side you are adding the radiuses to get that arc. Now this side you are subtracting the smaller radius from the bigger one, right? place it right there. Just like that. Now the intersection right there is your point T, the very same point T you had on the other side. Then you now draw a line from O1 passing through point T, extend it until it intersects with the circle right there. And that intersection will be your T1, that T1, right? Now, you draw a line from T, the same way you've done on the other side, to right there. Like that, right? Now you're going to draw a line perpendicular to this one or parallel to this one from here going that way, right? Now you can use a protractor. Okay, since the other time I used the set squares, let me use a protractor this time. You place a protractor right there, then you align that line like this. See here, align it like that, then you go for 90 degrees. Like that, right? Then you can draw a line. Now this line is supposed to be parallel to that, and there it's supposed to be 90 degrees, right? So now there, the intersection will be T2, right? And then now you can join. T2 and T1. Just like that. Shouldn't be difficult. So now when you check these two, the only difference there is that here now you are subtracting instead of adding, right? And now if you pay attention to this one, like I said, I made a mistake there using 30 instead of 35. Ne? Now what that has done, it has made this line not to be parallel to that one. They are supposed to be parallel. So now if you can check or zoom well on that video, you can see that this line is not really parallel to that one. And that is because I made a mistake there in adding. But the concept is still the same. Thank you very much.